Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Jones High School. Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, here with Neil Fisher, who's taking a selfie. As we are at halftime, and it's a 22-20 game. Mustangs very nearly went into the break with the lead. They led 20-19, and then an impressive field goal, 42 yards from Jeffrey St. Louis. I saw your colleague JP from the Apopka Chief had tweeted during halftime that was also how Jones won against Apopka, was with a 42-yard field goal from Jeffrey St. Louis. So he's got to be feeling pretty good right now. The Mustangs, though, I have to say, have got to be feeling pretty good about that first half as well. I mean, they are trailing by 2, but I mean, there were a few missed opportunities and a few things to clean up. But all in all, the performance against the number one team in Central Florida right now has been admirable from Wekiva.
I think the big thing is that they were down 19-6 at one point, and they were getting throttled. The defense was getting throttled. Jones scored on 3 consecutive possessions. I don't remember exactly how long they were, but I know all of them were at least 60 yards. And they made some adjustments, obviously, to come up with the stops on the last 3 possessions
the
by
Jones touchdowns were an 86-yard, a 47-yard, and an 85-yard drive summary.
So that's about 240 yards, about 200 yards. They actually had a total of 300, 327, and about 210 of those yards came on those 3 possessions. So certainly, if you're Wekiva, like you said, the overall idea is that you're only down 22-20. It took a 42-yard field goal from Jeffrey St. Clair to give up the lead on the last play of the half. It took a couple of amazing catches to get the ball into position to kick the field goal. However, I think the bigger what you're feeling better about is just simply the fact that you were down 19-6 and you actually had the lead, had a chance to go into halftime with the lead, and you went from giving up 3 consecutive possessions over 200 yards, and despite your best efforts, to being able to shut them down for those last 4 possessions, only giving up the 3 points.
Yeah, and we've talked before how this is actually about the midpoint of the most grueling part of the Mustang season. The Mustangs were supposed to play Edgewater, which would have been a real bear of a game. Certainly, Edgewater being a top team, but that, of course, was disrupted because we had some positive tests at Edgewater. So, out of an abundance of caution, we had to cancel that game, and so that's just a scratch from the record. It effectively became a bye week for both programs. Then, of course, Dr. Phillips last week, another top team, Sentinel Super 16, pretty much every year. Ocoee earlier than that turned out to be a surprise. I don't think anybody was really saw Ocoee on their radar as being a significant threat this season, and it turns out that they nearly upset Apopka. They did upset Wekiva. And so now the Mustangs have Southlake next week, which is a team we don't know quite as much about because they're a little bit outside of the Central Florida coverage area proper, being out in Groveland. But then Wekiva faces Lakeland in their penultimate game of the regular season, always a perennial powerhouse. You don't have to live in Polk County to know what Lakeland's reputation is. The Dreadnoughts there getting closer to the west coast of Florida, and because Lakeland is in Polk County, almost to Hillsborough County. And then the Mustangs will wrap up the season at home. They have just one home game left. In fact, only one home game, and it is the last game of the regular season against Apopka. That is what we like to affectionately call the Tater Bowl, or more formally, the Mayor's Cup. That is currently in possession of Apopka, and the Mustangs would like to get that back. Apopka has shown themselves to be vulnerable this year. They certainly have a quality team, but they have shown themselves to be vulnerable. And so that should be a really excellent ball game to wrap up the regular season.
Yeah, and again, it would be great for Wekiva to be able to go on the road next week after to Southlake after winning tonight against Jones. Of course,
certainly if Wekiva were to come back and take the victory tonight, that would certainly be favorable for their rankings. If you can knock out the number one team in the Sentinel Super 16, that only does positive things for your own ranking. Right now, Wekiva is at 11.
Yeah, and so I would really say, as we only have a couple more minutes here before kickoff, Wekiva This is probably the best game that Wekiva's played all season. Again, they have not made any significant errors. I don't. Well, they did make one significant error. Unfortunately, Maradovic threw that interception, and that's how Jones got possession of the ball to kick that field goal. But other than that, they really haven't made any mistakes. They've made the kind of mistakes that are more an issue of what Jones is doing as opposed to what they're not doing. Those are mistakes that coaches can live with. Those are mistakes that teams can overcome. They're not causing mistakes that put themselves in a bad hole. But even more so, the quality of play, they have certainly matched Jones, and in particular in the explosive and dynamic category. And again, that goes back to the fact that they were trailing 19-6. Jones was really running all over Wekiva as far as creating those explosive plays. And then Wekiva came back and made some of their own explosive plays. So I would say pretty much both teams are equal in the number of explosive plays and the number of yards gained from those explosive plays. And I think that's really where the quality of their play has come into focus and really made a difference tonight.
Yeah, so again, we are, as I look at the scoreboard behind me, about 1 minute
1 minute.
from 3 minutes. For those of you who are familiar with football timing, you do a 17-minute halftime followed by a 3-minute warm up. The 17 minutes would normally be given to the marching bands. We, of course, don't have those this season, although when we get back to Wekiva in 3 weeks, I am promised that we will at least have a pep band. So it will be great to hear our Mustang band in the stands again. Tonight, that 17 minutes was dedicated to senior night because tonight is Jones's senior night.
Mm-hmm.
And now, in about 3 more minutes, we're going to be back to live action. A little bit of a programming note. This is not going to be, in the interest of full disclosure, the quality camera work and the quality broadcast that you are used to from Keith Dickerson and his stand-up broadcast production team at Wekiva. We have just a contraption that I have rigged together on the sideline here, a tripod and a bunch of cords and adapters going into a cell phone to broadcast this game. We put the first half of the game on Twitter Live. We're going to put the second half of the game on YouTube Live to show a little bit of love to our fans who follow and subscribe on each of those platforms. The camera work is going to be rough because we are going to have to move the camera up and down the sideline as the game goes on. We're going to try to position the camera to capture those highlights as well as we can. We ask for your patience. You're not going to have a scoreboard at the bottom of your screen, but Neil and I will keep you up to date with the time remaining and the score, and we're going to do the very best we can, knowing that as far as we're aware, we are not aware of any live stream that Jones is putting on for tonight's game. So we at least wanted to put something out there, even if it is not the broadcast that you are used to seeing from the press box at Wekiva. So the benefit of this, though, is you're going to get the sideline view. You're going to see what the players see, what the coaches see. You're going to hear what it sounds like. And we are underway, so we're going to get right to it. Here comes Jamon Coleman. Jamon Coleman with a gangbuster return to get things started here in the third quarter.
Yeah, absolutely what Wekiva needed there. You can feel the excitement on the bench. Certainly the players jumped up immediately and came up to the front there.
So that puts the ball inside Tiger territory at the 48-yard line.
Yeah, and Wekiva continues to make explosive plays. At Jones 48, 1st and 10, Maradovic takes out of the shotgun. Quick handoff to, I believe that's Davis.
Chad Davis takes the carry.
So Davis, in a nice start here on first down, powering ahead, just lowered his shoulders. 5-yard gain.
That's the Travius Seawright on the stop. That puts the ball at the 44-yard line. Gain of 4 on the play. Mustangs looking at 2nd and 6 in Tiger territory. Oh, the snap is pulled back in by Maradovic and had a good look at Assad Wasim. Ricky Smith had the coverage there, and the officials rule it clean.
That'll bring up 3rd and 6. So certainly Wekiva would benefit immensely if they can pick up 6 yards here, turn that third down into a first down.
Again, Wekiva is looking for an upset here. Jones certainly the team favored tonight based on their performance so far this season. They are 3-0, and Wekiva is looking to hand them their first loss. Muradovic hands off to Chad Davis, and he is wrapped up quickly by Taylor Bryant and Jonathan Aleem.
And Wekiva's going to punt. So at least Wekiva will start the second half with the advantage in field position here, providing that there are no mistakes on this punt.
Yeah, and Jamon Coleman gets all the credit for that, getting them inside Tiger territory, and Mustangs not really able to do much of anything since then.
Muradovic standing back, not only the quarterback, but the punter. We just started the second half. Muradovic gets it off, no problems. And a fumble.
And it is fumbled, muffed on the return, but he's able to get it back under control. That's Chad Lindsay. And boy, what could have been a real disaster turns out to be not such a bad return for Jones.
Yeah, Lindsay picked that ball up, and a couple steps to the left, couple to the right. He almost looked like if we had a professional crew here to control the camera with that back and forth motion. So Jones takes over possession. And a handoff. Boy, some hard running there on the outside of the left side. And that's going to be a first down as well. So Jones out to their own 48-yard line. First and 10. And this time, nowhere to go. Great coverage. That was Kendall Wilson.
Steven Sparrow on the carry. Johnny Chaney had the tackle. And Neil, who had the first carry of the drive? Who had the first carry of the drive? 35.
So Gio Calvez starts the second half. Again, Jones does have two quarterbacks in. Robbins is the other one. He's more of the passer. Calvez is more of the runner. No gain. And second and 10 from the Jones 48 as Calvez drops back into shotgun formation, one back set. And the quick handoff. Quick turn upfield, and boy, he just dragged a couple players with him.
And yes, for the record, we are aware that we are shooting from the sideline and that this is not ideal. But since we did not, as far as we know, have a broadcast available from Jones, we brought our little mobile broadcasting rig, and we are going to do the best we can with the situation that we have. We've got an injury on the play.
That's a Wekiva Mustang.
The ball is at the 42-yard line, which it looks like they have gone ahead and awarded credit for the first down. So that'll be Sparrow credited with 3 plays in a row there.
And Sparrow scored on an 81-yard touchdown in that first half.
That's Tamarian Foster shaking up on the play. I see we have a question about the score. It is 22-20, and that is how we entered the third quarter. 22-20. The Mustangs actually had the lead 20-19, And then we had a field goal of 42 yards from Jeffrey St. Louis, and that gave the Tigers the lead just as time expired on the first half. 22-20 the score, and we are about 3.5 minutes now into the third quarter, 8 minutes, 35 seconds remaining. 22-20 as we get back to live action here, 8.5 minutes to go. It's going to be a QB keeper, and he's tripped up. That is Luther Johnson taking out Kalen Calvez.
Middle linebacker getting back in that backfield.
That's going to be, looks to be a pickup of about 2 yards on the play.
That'll put the ball at the Wekiva 40.
2nd and 8. Goes for the lateral, bobbled, and while he does catch it, it takes up enough time that the Mustangs' Tony Newsom is able to get there.
Swallowed up as soon as that ball made contact with his hands.
That's going to be a loss of 1. Excuse me, a loss of 3. And it brings up 3rd and 11 for the Tigers.
So
7 minutes, 26 seconds left in the third quarter.
So Calvez brings the Jones Tigers up to the line, drops back in the shotgun, one back set, 2 receivers on each side. 3rd and 11, as Mark just said, takes the snap, and he's going to go to the right.
Got his man. That's number 38. That's Aviance Williams, tackled by Takavian Purdy.
And that will be enough for the first down.
All right, we're going to take this opportunity to reposition the camera, so get ready. It's going to get bumpy for a second.
As Calvez, again, operates out of the shotgun. Quick handoff. Oh, straight up the middle. And still on his feet. Well, down inside the 10-yard line. Boy, like a rocket, he came off of that offensive line. And now Jones going no huddle. Refs gives the signal to go ahead and snap the ball, but now we got penalties.
All right, let's take the penalty marker opportunity to get down there. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for the fact that we're doing this from the sideline, but we just want to get you updated as well as we can. If you can't tolerate the shaky camera work, we understand. We are also broadcasting live stats from WekivaMustangs.com. You can get the icon and the link there. This is new for us. We do not normally broadcast from the sideline, but since we don't have another option, that's what we're going with today.
And the third consecutive handoff. As Jones continues to pound ahead. They are now at the 3-yard line, actually the 5. (22-20), 5:50 left in the third quarter. Jones with the lead, and they are the team with the ball at the 5. Calvez, the quarterback, takes the snap, hands off, and an easy touchdown. Number 7 again.
Yep, Steven Sparrow there. Nobody touched him as he went up the middle and into the end zone. And that's going to make it a 28-20 lead for Jones with 5 minutes, 35 seconds on the clock, pending the extra point.
Now, Jones has missed 2 of them.
Yeah, so far tonight,
excuse me, they've missed 1.
Jones is, 1 of 3 on extra points.
Whoa, bad snap there.
And that is, he manages to recover it nicely. The kick is made.
Can I get the from 30?
All right, let us get a little bit closer to midfield here as we get ready for the kickoff. We're going to go just to the edge of the coach's box here. Again, thanks for your patience. We have never done this before. Normally at away games, we just do live tweets and live stats. We do not normally attempt to broadcast from the sideline.
Jones holding a 29-20 lead. They have just scored a touchdown to make the lead 9 points and 5:35 left. We are at Jones Stadium at the shadow of Camping World Stadium. Actually, the Citrus Bowl as Wekiva, a fairly decent return, will take over first and 10 after 31.
So that Jamon Coleman, again, putting in some great work on the return game.
Neil Fisher along with Mark Barchi. Jones comes into tonight's game ranked number 1 in the Orlando Sentinel Super 16. Wekiva, the 11th ranked team. Seen a good game. Explosiveness and dynamic has been the theme of the game, and we're going to get penalties, all kinds of movement on the line.
Yep. False start. Called against Wekiva. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. And a replay of first down. Now first and 15 from the 31-yard line. 5 minutes, 24 seconds remaining in the third quarter. The score 29-20.
So Wekiva unable to get a first down on their first possession. Need to get some here, though. After giving up that touchdown, need an answer. Certainly a strong start.
Yeah, look at that spin move there from Amari Thomas.
Thomas just powering his way ahead. And as you mentioned, Mark, the spin move, that comes from having that strength in the leg and running low to the ground. As we are going to drop under 5 minutes in the third quarter.
Puts the ball at the 30. Let's see. We're going to put that at the 40 or 35-yard line, we'll say.
Snap to Maradovic, handoff inside to Davis, and he's wrapped up immediately. The center of the offensive line collapsing.
Yep. And we're going to try to put the camera where the coach is not directly in front of us. There we go. Who ran on that play?
So the ball at the Wekiva 32-yard line, facing third and long. Maradovic drops back, goes immediately to the air, incomplete. Through the, really looked like Reed should have had that. Ball was in the hands. If you're Wekiva, though, you can't really take much. There's not really much to feel bad about. Even if Coleman had caught that ball, he was still well short of a first down. Excuse me, if Reed had caught the ball, he was well short of a first down.
So again, we are at Jones High School here on Thursday Night Football. 4 minutes, 6 seconds remaining. Tigers lead 29-20. And if you are enjoying this broadcast, then you know how much we appreciate Keith Dickerson and his team at Wekiva High School, their broadcast production crew, when we are able to give you a much more professional broadcast than this. But again, knowing that this is an important game for the Mustangs, we have a lot of fans who are not able to secure tickets to come in person.
And there was contact with Maradovic, no call though. In the meantime, well, Jones is really, we're looking at some deja vu. The start of the first half began with Jones making these explosive plays. So another long return on the punt, and Wekiva's defense is going to have to come up big.
Yeah, that was Chad Lindsay there. The Mustangs almost didn't really gain any field position on that punt.
So we talked about at halftime, Wekiva falling behind 19-6, as Jones made 3 or 4 really big plays, gained some yardage, and Wekiva's going to get a reprieve here. We had a penalty. So I guess that partially explains why Lindsey was able to get that big return. And yeah, this is going to be a big time
Yeah, they
swing in
called an
yardage.
illegal block there. Usually on return plays like that, it ends up being a blocking below the waist call.
And the penalty does go into effect from where the penalty actually occurred. That's why it's so far back. It's not just 10 yards.
So now it puts the ball all the way back at the 30-yard line.
And Robbins is in now, as we've seen, switching back with him and Calvez. A quick screen. And again, nothing fancy. Just catch the ball about a line past the scrimmage, run forward, and when it's all said and done, about a 5-yard gain.
Number.
You see who caught that? Handoff. Not a lot of room, but a lot of force. That line just kept getting moved forward by Lindsey.
That's Steven Sparrow.
Sparrow, I mean.
Yep, he has
Number
done
7.
a lot of work for the Tigers tonight.
Particularly here in the second half, he certainly has been their go-to running back. In the first half, it was Harris, and he's going to take the handoff again. Sparrow again. Just pounding ahead. And we got a penalty. Wekiva saying that it's against Jones. That ball came up way late after the play had ended. So I'm Neil Fisher along with Mark Barchi. 2:54 left in the third quarter. Wekiva trailing 29-9 against Jones.
And it's going to be an offensive unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. And that will cost. Boy, Jones is really getting punished by penalties tonight.
That puts the ball way back at the 30, where they started. And Jones goes back to work again, 3rd and 20 at their own 32-yard line.
Score is 29-20. And you all will have to provide me with feedback as that is thrown just away to no one. So that incomplete means that the Tigers will have to punt here. You all have to give me feedback in the live chat how the audio is doing. I do see the comments requesting the score, and it is 29-20, assuming that you can hear me.
So Wekiva's defense does come up with a stop, a much needed stop. Obviously, you're down by 2 scores. You don't want that deficit to become 3. And 2:41 left.
All right, we hear we need better angles. The audio is better than the visual. Yeah, I wish I could do something better for you from the visual. We're going to do the very best we can.
And snap, punt. Going to have a return. No, we're not going to have a return.
Yeah, they got 3 Tigers there before the Mustangs can get to it, so we'll let that one go.
Rethought about coming up, and then he looked forward and saw 3 Tigers and thought better. But the bottom line is Wekiva, the defense did accomplish its goal. That was get a 3 and out, get the ball back to the offense. And with 2:26 left, the score remains 29-20 in favor of Jones.
And Mustangs are going to start from the 33-yard line this time. 2:26 to go in the third quarter. 29-20 the score. And now I think you all have a greater appreciation for Wekiva broadcast production and what a fantastic job they do for us at our home games.
So some more yardage, I believe. Was this a penalty, Mark?
Yes, it was.
Okay. I did not see the yellow flag, but I did see the ball being moved 10 yards. So if you're Wekiva, you take it. Don't question it. Say thank you, sir, to the official and line up, which is exactly what they did. Maradovic takes the snap. He's going to go over the middle. Got an open
Got his
receiver who's still
man.
on the move. Still on the move. It's
Assad
Wasim.
Wasim. Look at that.
Wasim shaking off a couple of tackles after catching that ball. And you
All
can
right.
feel the excitement now on the sideline, the Wekiva sideline. And I believe Wekiva's going no huddle.
Yep, which means we're going to have to catch up with them in a hurry.
The ball is all the way down at the 50, all the way down at the Jones 19-yard line. Wasim with the catch in the front of the end zone. The jump ball, touchdown, Wekiva. And Wekiva answers the Jones touchdown. Oh, that was two who caught it. Oh, excuse me, that was Jamin Coleman. So again, a little hard to see here down on the field. Nonetheless, a beautiful catch, and here's the extra point, and that is good this time. And we have a 1-point score, 29-28 in favor of Jones. 150 left in the third quarter.
Okay, so we got confirmation that was Harleonte Reed
Okay.
who made the touchdown catch.
And
1 minute, 50 seconds to go. Here, we'll give you a shot of the
was
scoreboard
no
over
good.
there.
So the score is actually 29-27. PAT was
29-27 with a $1.50 to go in the third quarter. Mustangs ready to kick off.
Okay, excuse me. The PAT was good. Having some brain cramps there. 20 plus 7 is actually 27. So it is 29-7, and the PAT was good.
Yep, both teams picking up one touchdown with the PAT. Tigers going to see if they can't make some magic happen here on the return play again, and they do.
So 136 left in the third quarters. We are coming
That's
live.
Aviance Williams on the return. We got a flag on the play again. So provisionally, the ball would be at about the 30-yard line, and that's where the penalty marker is.
So Neil Fisher along with Mark Barchi at Jones Field, right across the street from Campy World Stadium.
Looks like it's going to be an unsportsmanlike penalty against Wekiva. That's something they can ill afford right now.
And we've seen this all night, Mark. Just a lot of back and forth, not just in terms of the score, but the momentum, which has dictated the score. Very much the proverbial heavyweight fight, with both fighters taking turns trapping the opponent in the corner. And now with 136 left in the third quarter, Jones goes to work at their own 47. And we're going to get another touchdown. One play, one touchdown.
Very first offensive play of the drive, and it is number 7, Steven Sparrow, who has been gold for the Tigers tonight. That'd be a 53-yard touchdown run from the Mustang, or from the Tiger 47-yard line, all the way to the house.
And
So the Tigers extend their lead to 35-27, pending the extra point.
and Sparrow has certainly been the man of the hour in the second half. He has come up big, scoring twice here.
Low, and Mustangs might have got a piece of that. I'm not sure.
In either case, that keeps the lead at 8 points, and that's one score, a touchdown and 2-point conversion. So
Yeah, the
certainly a break there for Wekiva.
special teams has been kind of scattershot tonight. The Tigers are 2 out of 5 on extra points, although you can't be too hard on their kicker, Jeffrey St. Louis, who came up with a 42-yard field goal to give them the lead at halftime. So again, 35-27 the score. A minute and 22 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Since we have a second, we'll pan over to the scoreboard and give you a clean shot of it. There you go, 35-27 with a $1.22 to go here. Tigers getting ready to kick off to the Mustangs. Taken by Coleman as usual. From near the goal line, look at him on his feet.
So Wekiva once again is in the situation of needing to come up with an answer. Coleman getting him started with a fairly decent return.
So Wekiva
Moradovic calling out the signals. One back set. Quick handoff. Possible big gain, but actually very quickly that hole is filled and Thomas taken down. So the play started at Wekiva's 25-yard line. And we are under a minute in the third quarter. Wekiva looking to answer the Jones touchdown. They're down 35-27 as Moradovic takes the snap. And another quick handoff. Thomas again. And that will take the ball out to the 31-yard line. 30.
Again, apologies for the shoddy camera work. That's my fault.
So it'll be 3rd and 4 for Wekiva at their own 31-yard line. And that's going to do it for the third quarter. Clock's going to run out here. And Wekiva will have possession of the ball, facing a 3rd and 4 to start the third quarter. They also face a 35-27 deficit.
All right, so we are at the end of the third quarter, 35-27. Tigers and Mustangs trading scores in that third quarter, and Jones extending their lead. They outdid the Mustangs 2 touchdowns to 1. Extra points maybe helping out Wekiva a little bit, but it is an 8-point ball game. That is still technically a 1-score ball game, so it is going to come down to the fourth quarter. Right now, Tigers lead the Mustangs 457 to 314 in total yardage. But Wekiva, it's been all Wekiva in the passing game. 253 yards for Moradovic, who is 11 of 21, just 94 yards combined for Calvez and Robbins. And we're going to switch sides, Neil, and we're going to get ready to go again here in just a moment.
Yeah, real quick, Sparrow was certainly the hero of that third quarter, scoring both touchdowns. So Wekiva's going to have to keep a leash on him here. And another play action and overthrow too long.
I was looking for Assad Wasim there. So it'll be 4th and 4. Wekiva's not really in a position to go for a 4th down conversion here, so most likely Junior Muradovic will punt. Again, for those of you just joining us, we are just entering the 4th quarter, 11:53 to go, and the Tigers lead 35-27 as the Mustangs prepare to punt it away.
So Muradovic is also the punter, but they are not going to punt. Or at least they're going to come up and try to draw Jones offside. 2 back set, and we got a whistle timeout.
Yeah,
right
there's
away.
that timeout, and I think that's exactly what you predicted, Neil. That Wekiva figured they'd try and draw the Tigers offsides because it was 4th and 4, so an offsides penalty would have been enough to do it. But the Tigers are not going to fall for it, and so more than likely when Wekiva emerges from the huddle, we will see them go for the punt. Of course, it does kind of keep your options open since your quarterback and your punter are one and the same on the Mustangs. Junior Muradovic filling both of those roles. Again, just to recap where we are here, this is week number 5 of an abridged season. It is week number 7 overall in the state of Florida, but Orange County lost the first 2 weeks of the season. So this is week number 5 out of 8 for Orange County teams. And Wekiva lost yet another week because the Edgewater game was canceled. So they had a bye coming in. Wekiva will end up finishing the season with just 7 regular season games. Coming back from the timeout, and well, the Mustangs looking gutsy here. They will not punt it. It's a lateral to Davis, and Davis gets wrapped up right away. And that's going to give good field position to the Tigers.
So the coaching staff deciding to roll the dice.
Yeah, it does not work out for the Mustangs, though, as that's going to put the ball with excellent field position. It'd be at the 30-yard line. So that was actually a loss of 1.
It'll be 1st and 10 at the Wekiva 33-yard line. Handoff to, again, Sparrow. Nothing fancy this time. Just straight ahead. I know there's still 11 and a half minutes left, but if you are Jones, you might be running that play to think about taking some time off the clock.
Looks like about 3 on that play. Yeah, the clock right now is the Tigers' friend and the Mustangs' foe.
And Robbins comes in, sets up out of the shotgun. He's going to run again. 1 back set, Sparrow the running back. Another handoff to Sparrow. This time they're going a little bit of misdirection to the left side. Again, nothing fancy, but some more time will come off that clock.
Looked like Johnny Cheney was at the bottom of that stack for the Mustangs. Looked like a gain of about 1, perhaps, on the play. Getting it to the 21-yard line and bringing up 3rd and short. Excuse me, the 26-yard line.
And we have a timeout here due to an injury.
So 10 minutes, 31 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. And it looks like it is not a timeout. Not sure what it was, but it was not a timeout.
There was an injury on the field.
Ah, okay. So yeah, just a short injury that one of the Mustangs was slow to get up. So we are right back
21.
underway.
And And Robbins will take the count snap, taking a longer one here. Quick handoff inside to Lindsay. And Wekiva does come up big, that defensive line leading the charge. Now, of course, if you're Jones, my thought is that you're going to go for this, try to convert the fourth down to first down since they've done it a couple times already. Or, of course, you can come out, you can send your field goal kicking unit out, which is what they're doing.
That's true. I mean, Jeffrey St. Louis already has a 42-yarder from the end of the first half. Again, it's 35 to 27. I wish we had a way to put the scoreboard at the bottom of your screen like we do for home games. We have not yet figured out the technology on that if we don't bring the whole
9:45
gear
left.
with
Here's
us.
the kick from about 35, and this one is no good. Short. Dodged
it
the
had
bullet.
the accuracy, but not the distance. And so the Mustangs will benefit there as they'll take over.
And that keeps the score at 35 to 27.
And again, that's technically a one-score game. You have to believe that if Wekiva were to get a touchdown here, they'd probably go for two and try to tie the game. 35 to 27, the Tigers have the lead. 9 minutes, 33 seconds remaining in the ball game. We'll try to get out from behind the coaches here.
And Muradovic takes the snap, handoff.
Davis didn't go anywhere there.
Davis trying that center. So Jones, the number one team in the Orlando Sentinels Super 16 poll. Wekiva number 11. And certainly this has been an offensive game as the expectations dictated, albeit Wekiva has certainly been much more explosive than Jones. And
nicely placed pass there, right into the arms of Assad Wasim.
And that's a first down for Wekiva. As the clock dips under 9 minutes, they're going no huddle as well.
That'll put the ball at the 37-yard line, which I have that down for a gain of 13.
And another catch.
And nice work keeping that under control after the catch by Harleante Reed.
Wekiva remains no huddle as the ball is placed by the refs. We are now at the 41-yard line.
Gain of 4 on that completion.
2nd and 6. And as is the Wekiva standard, one back set, that is Davis lining up behind Muradovic. Play action over the middle to Reed. Breaks the tackle down the left sideline, and he's going to finally be ridden out of bounds at the 20.
The Mustangs pick up a reception there by Christopher Reed, and we're going to move down into Tiger territory.
So Wekiva coming back to life here after a couple of 3 and outs.
Ball is spotted at the 30, actually about 30 even.
31-yard line.
There we go. Sorry for that.
7.5 minutes left. 1st and 10 for Wekiva. Motion over the middle. Play action. Muradovic to his right. Reception.
And that's Harleante Reed.
So it's 3 consecutive pass catches by the Reedster as we are going to dip under 7 minutes. And so
ball's at about the 22, I think. So that'd be a gain of 8 on the completion. Bring up 2nd and 2 for Wekiva.
And Wekiva is on the march after the missed field goal by Jones. Down by one score, 35-27. Snap into the corner of the end
Got him
zone.
in.
Incomplete, but Wekiva sends a message. They're taking a shot.
Actually, you know what? Let's get out of traffic and head down to the end zone just in case Wekiva tries that again.
35-27. Wekiva trailing. We are at Jones Stadium.
All right, we are going to set up shop.
I'm Neil Fisher along with Mark Barchi. 6:29 left. Wekiva facing 3rd and 2 at the Jones 23. Again, trailing by one score. Quick handoff. Nothing fancy there. Just move the line forward a couple of yards. And that will keep possession with Wekiva.
Yep, it is a first down. As we wait for the peloton to clear here.
So that new set of downs certainly provides a number of options for Wekiva. Yeah, Wekiva actually gained 4 yards on that play. They're inside the 20.
Was that Thomas or was that Davis?
I believe that was Davis.
And it does take us to the halfway point here, so we're going to pause for a water break as the Mustangs clear the 20-yard line to get to the 19. So officially a gain of 3. 6 minutes, 24 seconds remaining in the ball game. We've reached the midpoint of the fourth quarter, pausing for the last official timeout. Again, we sincerely wish that we had a way to put the scoreboard at the bottom of your screen the way we can at our home games, but we are operating on a very limited set of equipment here. But since as far as we know, and we did look, but as far as we know, Jones is not broadcasting this game. So in spite of the fact that we don't have a press box and we don't have a computer, we don't have a scoreboard connection, but we do have a phone and some headsets and a sideline. So we're going to do the best we can with the situation that was given to us, because we know that many of you want to come to these games and are not able to. And so we're going to do whatever we can to bring them to you with whatever technology we can put together.
And Wekiva's going to go 3 receivers.
It's
on the
intercepted.
Left.
Number 13, that's Jaden Gillens. So now twice in the red zone, the Mustangs have given it up to an interception. And that will put the brakes on the Mustang momentum.
6 minutes left in the ball game. And perhaps you can overcome 1 interception. Certainly 2 is very difficult.
So I see the question in the live chat. It's the crowd seems a little larger than usual. And that is because it is senior night at Jones. So you have a lot of Jones parents here who are able to obtain tickets because they are parents of seniors.
Handoff once again to Sparrow. Hits the middle. And certainly if you're Jones now, you are looking to drain that clock. We talked about that on a couple of possessions ago. There's still about 10, 11 minutes left.
Looks like we have a pickup of 3 or 4 yards on that play.
And now
the other thing I would remind you of is that Jones has a fairly small stadium compared to most Orange County public schools. So the same number of people look like a larger crowd here at the Tiger Stadium. Sparrow nearly gets away from the Mustang defense, but he is dragged down from behind for the Mustangs by number 6. That is Antoine Johnson.
But that is a first down, though. And what's most important, again, is the clock will now continue to run. We are down to 5:10.
So the ball is right at the 40-yard line, maybe the 41.
And again, Sparrow, he has been the star of the second half.
Johnny Chaney with the takedown there. Ball's about the 45-yard line. We'll call that a gain of perhaps 4. And you're absolutely right, Neil. Sparrow has just all of the accolades for Jones tonight. He has 3 touchdowns, and he has run 15 carries for 224 yards. Fumble, and it is recovered by Wekiva, and he's got room to run. That's number 10, Simeon McKell, and he is into the end zone for a Mustang touchdown.
And wow, Mark, who would have thought we have a chance to get a tie ball game here after we were commenting on Despero's prowess and how much he has destroyed the Mustang defense. One mistake and Wekiva turns it into a touchdown and the potential to tie this ball game up with 4 minutes left. And certainly the Wekiva sideline came to life.
Yeah, and as predicted here, the Mustangs are not bringing out Carlisle. They're going to bring out Muradovic because a 2-point conversion here ties the game.
That was number 10. So 4:08 exactly left, 35-33. Wekiva needing to get this 2 points to tie the ball game.
And we're going to get a flag. And it's going to be a false start against Wekiva. So that has some consequences for Wekiva. First of all, you're now looking at an 8-yard play instead of a 5-yard play. And second of all, it also telegraphs what you were going to do to the Tigers. Mustangs had an open man.
So Muradovic lines up the team, and we're going to get whistles again. Wekiva was working out that one-back set. The whistles are for a timeout.
And the Tigers, actually, are going to be the ones who take the timeout. 4:08 to go in ball game. And so we'll take this opportunity to relocate. Since we have a timeout, we'll put the camera in a better position to capture this 2-point attempt that the Mustangs are going to go for here in a minute.
So Wekiva getting a break, but then they make the most of it. A return on a fumble recovery. The Jones Tigers botched the snap.
Yeah, and what looked like it was all the momentum had shifted away from Wekiva on the interception now has come right back. And Wekiva has an opportunity here from the 8-yard line.
So got to get the ball into the end zone to tie the game. Muradovic's going to go over
That
the
is
middle.
bad, and it's good. Harleonte Reed ties the game with a 2-point conversion.
35, 4:08 left.
We are all tied up, and it is going to be a photo finish here at Jones High School. And boy, we're glad we tried to at least get something online for coverage of this game. We're going to make the long walk back to midfield here.
So what has been a back and forth game, obviously the score, but also the big plays. Both teams have made their share of unforced errors. The latest allows Wekiva the opportunity to tie the game, and they take advantage.
And we'll get you a quick shot of the scoreboard there in the distance. 4:08 to go in the ball game, 35-35. It's a new ball game.
So a defense that has times tonight certainly looked like it's been like the proverbial heavyweight boxer being pummeled in the corner. But in the biggest moment of the game, they certainly were the ones who came out throwing the punch when the mistake was made by the opponent. And now they will have to come up big again. Bouncing kickoff taken here at about the 10-yard line, actually the 20. And oh, this is going to be a good return.
So that was number 82. Taken down by Kamori Williams. Puts the ball right at the 40-yard line, so about 20 yards on the return for the Tigers. Score 35-35, just under 4 minutes remaining in the ball game. Mustangs trying to knock off the number one team in the Sentinel Super 16, the Jones Tigers.
Handoff to Sparrow, the running back who's done everything, in particular the second half. So Jones trying to catch Wekiva asleep there, running the ball up the middle. Wekiva having none of that attempt to catch him off sleep. Gaining only a couple yards. It'll be 2nd and 8 at the Jones 42.
Second and 7 from the 43. 3:17 left in the game. And Sparrow is all wrapped up.
Sparrow taken down behind the line of scrimmage, nowhere to go.
That's Kendall Wilson and Tony Newsom combining to make that happen. That pushes the ball back to about the 37-yard line. A loss of 6 on the play.
It's a big loss, not just in terms of not being able to regain the momentum, but the yardage.
And the clock continues to run. There you see Aquila Sumter motioning to the Wekiva crowd to give them some love. We'll pan the camera back behind us for a second since we have a break in the action.
Third and
let
13.
you see the Mustang crowd, small but mighty. Of course, mostly made up of family of the players who were able to secure tickets through our restricted process. Tonight is senior night for the Tigers.
Jones facing a 3rd and 13, and we're going to have a timeout before this critical play. So that fumble certainly has changed the game, not just in terms of the game being tied, but you can feel the juice that the Wekiva defense has certainly garnered. The last 2 plays, the man who was just eating them alive, especially in the second quarter, Steven Sparrow, has not been able to get anything. And in fact, he lost 5 yards on that last play. So 2:19 left on Neil Fisher along with Mark Barchi. We are tied at 35-35, Wekiva, Jones. And a snap on a fumble on the last Jones possession opened the door for Wekiva. Not only did they take advantage, but it was quite spectacular. The return was picked up in return for a touchdown. Then a 2-point conversion from Maradovic to Harlianti Reed tied this game at 35. Calvez out of the shotgun. He's going to run it up the middle. And, well, that's going to be close, just straight up the middle. As we're going to go under 2 minutes. And they're going to be short. Calvez is going to be about a yard short. And another timeout, 1:58 left. Yeah, 1 yard. That was a 12-yard gain by Calvez. Quarterback draw.
So that gets it up to the 48-yard line. It's going to be 4th and 2. We're going to pause for another timeout here.
So certainly the play of the game about to unfold. Wekiva's defense out on the field. Jones is now coming back onto the field after the timeout. 1:58 left. Neil Fisher along with Mark Barchi. We are at Jones High School in Orlando, just across the street from Camping World Stadium. 35. And again, 4th and 2 for Jones. Calvez, the quarterback, counts out the signal. Motion at, and another whistle. So Jones takes its final timeout. So you can unstrap your seatbelt for a few seconds here and take a deep breath, get some water, and we will try it again for a third time. This 4th and 2 play with the score tied at 35-35. And just
So
for the
certainly, Neil,
record,
this is
Jones
about
will
the
not
most
have any.
thrilling finish we've seen all season, either at home or on the road. And we're glad, like I said, this is an alternative method of covering the game for us. When we learned that, at least as far as we know, Jones was not broadcasting this game, we pulled out the old sideline portable rig. So we know this is not ideal, and we appreciate Keith Dickerson and his broadcast production program more than ever, but we just wanted to get something online so
And
you
it
can
looks
follow us live.
And it looks like Jones is trying to draw Wekiva offside here.
Here comes the
And they
punt.
actually go with the punt. They're not going to try that 4th down.
And that is not going to be returned.
And so what do you know, Mark? About 2 minutes ago, it looked like all Jones had to do was get maybe 3 more first downs, and the victory was theirs. And now Wekiva has a chance to win this game. They do not need to score a touchdown. 35,
No, any
35.
score at all with 1:44 left. And Jones burned all of their timeouts just then, trying to get that clock stopped. They spent 2 timeouts figuring out to punt. And so
Jones
that is
came into
potentially
this game, the
important
number 1
here.
ranked team in the Orlando Sentinel Super 16. Wekiva, of course, came in ranked 2, number 11. And Wekiva got the opportunity.
1:44 to go.
An opportunity for Wekiva, came up with a bad snap, recovered, ran into the end zone for a touchdown, the 2-point conversion. And we got a handoff and some good yardage here by Davis. He's weaving to the outside.
Where was the ball to start?
I don't know. Hey, coach.
9.
So excellent first down there. Excellent yardage on first down. Actually get a second first down, taking the ball from the 9 to the 26. Another handoff, Davis inside. 1:15 left. That'll take the ball up to the 30. We're now under 1 minute. 35.
1 minute mark. Less than 1 minute to go, and the Mustangs are either going to have to get 70 yards here, or at least a field goal, or else we're going to overtime for the first time of 2020.
So at least the good news is they're no longer in the shadow of their end zone. Another handoff to the
Coleman,
right.
not a typical running back for the Mustangs. He's more known for his special teams plays.
So down to 36.8 seconds.
Mustangs will call timeout here. Ball is spotted. Let's see, where are we? We're at the 34-yard line. Gain of 4 on that run. It brings up 3rd and 3. We got 36 seconds on the clock. Wekiva spends the timeout to stop the clock.
And remember, Jones does not have a timeout. They burned all 3 on that last 4th down. I think they were trying to draw Wekiva offside. So
again,
Wekiva,
thanks for your patience with us here as we give you our limited ability to do
And
sideline coverage. Muradovic keeps it for himself, slides, gets the first down.
Some stop, some go, and a first down, 29.2 seconds. So again, Wekiva does not need a touchdown to win. They need a field goal.
That's right at the 40-yard line, a gain of 6.
And
Wekiva calls timeout. We got 19 seconds on the clock. Some complaints from the Mustangs that they called timeout and the clock did not immediately stop. We'll see if the officials make an adjustment as we move a little bit farther down the field to get a better angle on the next play. It is likely that Wekiva will go for the end zone, so we're going to position the camera a little bit farther downfield. Again, we'll do our very best not to make you seasick as we move the camera. And just rest assured that when we are back at Wekiva to play a Popka and finish up the season, we will have our usual top shelf broadcast team and our scoreboard graphics and the whole 9 yards that you've come to expect. All right, Neil, 19.3 seconds. Clock remains unadjusted. Mustangs can get 1, maybe 2 plays done here. Muradovic has an open man. He immediately falls. We're going to pause.
14.4 seconds. The coach is calling out for Muradovic to spike the ball. They're not quite in field goal territory yet, but they need to stop the clock. But we're going to have a penalty. Was that one? So we got some confusion here at Jones Field with 11.3 seconds left. And that is going to be an offsides against Wekiva. Muradovic got the team up, and they went to spike the ball to stop the clock.
Well, it does stop the clock one way or the other, even though it was a penalty. Of course, the clock immediately starts again. All right, here we go. Likely the last play of the regulation.
Muradovic drops back.
Muradovic in trouble, goes to the sideline. He's just going to run straight out of bounds, but he's too late. Time has expired. And that means we are going to go to overtime.
So tied at 35 all. Certainly a ray of light with that pass completion. But then some issues for Wekiva.
Well, this is an interesting situation we find ourselves in.
And over to our left, again, we are on the actual sidelines as opposed to in the press box. To our left, Luther Johnson, one of the leaders, one of the senior captains. He's a middle linebacker, has just called the team over. To be honest, I would kind of like to be a player to hear what LJ has to say. So what was an apparent, or at least just minutes away from an apparent Jones victory, they were up 35-27. They had just intercepted a Junior Muradovic pass, which ended a well-looking drive. Wekiva driven inside the 20-yard line. On the second play after the interception, a bad snap. Wekiva not only recovered the snap, the fumble, but they also ran it into the end zone. Muradovic followed that with a pass to Harliante Reed for the 2-point conversion, and we were tied at 35-35.
So, Neil, this might be the time to go over the rules of overtime in high school football. Since this situation does not come up all that often, we're going to have a 3-minute break, which we're already about halfway through. And then it is what people commonly like to call a Kansas City style overtime system. Each team will take the ball at the 10-yard line of the opposing team and will have 4 downs to score. There is a guarantee that each team gets an equal number of turns. So if the first team scores, then the second team has an opportunity to match or exceed that. If the first team does not score and the second team does score, then the game is immediately over. The clock is gone. There is no more clock. And it is, like I said, a lot of people refer to this as a Kansas City style rules overtime.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same as you see in college football, NCAA. The only difference is the ball the possession starts at the 10 instead of the 25.
Correct.
But it's very important to remember that both teams get the same amount of attempts at the end zone. So if one team, the team that has the ball first, scores, they do not win automatically. They still gotta then hold the opponent out of the end zone.
We'll have a coin toss here to see who goes first in overtime. We got team captains Kendall Wilson and Darian Hawkins with the officials at midfield there. The official having a conversation with Hawkins, which indicates the Tigers may have won.
And many, many moons ago, Mark, after both teams had their first possession.
Oh, no, it is Wekiva has won the toss and has deferred. That means that the Tigers will have the first attempt at the end zone, and they have elected to head toward the direction they were already headed. So we are going to head there as well.
And Mark, to say many, many moons ago, after the first possession of each team, you said this might be more of a defensive-oriented battle than expected. That went out the window quickly. 70 points on the board, and I would say that the score certainly reflects the game. Both teams have made their share of big, explosive plays, big in terms of the impact. Both teams have made about 3 or 4 mistakes, which have opened the door for the opponent to create those big plays of impact.
All right, so we're going to park at the 5-yard line here. It's first and goal from the 10.
"35-35, we begin overtime at Jones Stadium, just across the street from Campy World Stadium. Jones has possession of the ball first. Neil Fisher along with Mark Barchi. Handoff and a touchdown. And Sparrow, the man of the hour, continues. And not sure what happened there, but man, that middle of the defensive line and linebacking crew just split open. And you know, Wekiva's defense had come up so big in that last 4 minutes, and then they just fell asleep. I'm not sure really what else to say. As St. Louis will now take the PAT attempt, balls down, kicks up, and through the middle of the uprights. So one play, and Wekiva's in the hole of needing to score a touchdown in converting a PAT to have a shot at winning.
All right, so we're going to stay on the same side of the field. We're going to switch to Wekiva.
"42-35, Jones in the lead over Wekiva. We are in overtime. Jones just took the lead on their possession. One play, one touchdown, a rush by Steven Sparrow. So Wekiva has to move the ball 10 yards into the end zone and then convert a PAT to have a
Yes,
shot at winning.
And importantly, they don't have to do it in one play like Jones did. Does not matter how many plays it takes. It is nearly caught, but just slips through the arms of Harleante Reed, incomplete. 3 more chances. That was a well-placed ball, Neil. That was catchable.
Certainly. That'll bring up second and goal from the 10 now.
Again, Jones leading 42-35 in overtime. Wekiva has the second possession, so they must score a touchdown within the next 3 plays.
Maradovic working out of the one-back set, drops back into the end
As a
zone.
man, and it is caught. Assad Wasim in the end zone for a Mustang touchdown. All right, so now an interesting conundrum for Wekiva. Kicking game has been a little bit inconsistent on both teams tonight and all season long. You can go for the extra point to tie, and then we play another series at the other end of the field. Or you can go for the 2 point conversion, and then it's all or nothing. You will either win or lose the game on this play, and Wekiva is going to take a timeout to think it over.
Maradovic came out. The whole offense was out there. But in the end, the coaching staff says, let's call a timeout and discuss this matter. And so, like you fans, we are standing down here at the 5 yard line waiting for the decision. Does Coach Bedison decide to roll the dice and just go for broke? Or does he play conservative and send in the kicking unit? And I believe he is going to roll the dice. He says, let's take our chances. Let's decide this game now. So 42-41. Neil Fisher along with Mark Barchi. We're at Jones Field, right across from Campy World Stadium. Wekiva trailing. They need to score this 2 point conversion to win.
For the game, Wasim, it's batted down. The pass is batted down from Assad Wasim by James Weatherspoon, and that is it. The game is over, and the Tigers have won. Wow, what a thrilling finish. And the Mustangs come up just short of being able to take the upset in overtime. 42-41, the final score in overtime. And that is going to do it for week 5. And boy, Neil, you couldn't have asked for a much better finish to this game. Of course, if you're a Wekiva fan, you could have asked for a slightly better finish, which would have been one play different. But certainly, our fans got their money's worth, even though they had to deal with my terrible camera work all night.
So it was really a game, as we talked about throughout. I think the score really did reflect what happened on the field. Both teams made a number of, I wouldn't say a lot of errors, maybe just 3 or 4, which allowed the other team to get back into the game, not just score wise, but momentum and strategy wise. Of course, the biggest one, or probably the one that's going to be most talked about, is the snap with about 3.5 minutes left. Jones fumbled the ball on that snap, and it was returned for a touchdown. Wekiva then elected to go for the 2 point conversion. Ali Nt. caught the pass from Maradovic. We were tied at 35, and that is why we went into overtime. On the other hand, both teams did make a number of great plays, big plays with impact, and I think this was a game that, even though they lost and the record will drop to 1-3, Wekiva probably feels better tonight about the performance than any other game. Certainly their best game that they've played in terms of quality all season. And again, certainly if you can hold not just the number one team in the Sentinel Super 16, but a team as explosive, dynamic as Jones is, I think that says a lot moving forward. Of course, next week, Wekiva goes on the road to Southlake, and they should be favored despite the record, especially coming off of tonight's performance.
Yeah, like you said, Neil, I mean, and you can hear, I know you can only hear what you're hearing through our headsets, but we heard the crowd support for Wekiva. Certainly the fans here very proud to see what they saw tonight. The Mustangs going toe to toe and taking it down to one play at the end of overtime against the number one team in Central Florida. And if you can do that against Jones, you can do that against anybody. Your final stats for tonight's game: Wekiva 21 first downs to Jones is 18. Passing, Wekiva just led in spades. Wekiva's Junior Maradovic was 17 of 31 for 335 yards and 4 touchdowns. His longest pass was 56 yards. The Mustangs held Calvez and Robbins together to 7 for 20 for 94 yards. However, Jones owned the ground game. They were 402 yards rushing to Wekiva's 93, so more than 4 times the yardage coming on the ground. So Wekiva, and this is something that if you were at Wekiva during the pre-Rich Bedison era, you never would have believed me if I told you that in 2020 Wekiva was going to be a predominantly passing program and was going to put up more than 3 times as much yardage in the air as they did on the ground. But that is exactly what has happened tonight under the leadership of transfer Junior Muradovic. Penalties nearly got the Tigers tonight. 13 penalties for 122 yards. Mustangs were not perfect in this department, but were better. 10 penalties for 80 yards. Mustangs turned the ball over twice. That was critical, but that fumble return for touchdown was really what kept Wekiva in the game.
Yeah.
Thanks to our friend, that was number 10. That was Simeon Mikkel, who really, swung the momentum that was slipping away back into Wekiva's favor. So we're so glad that you joined us tonight. And again, thank you for tolerating the shaky camera work. I was your statistician, your announcer, and your camera operator tonight. Again, this is not something we normally do. But since, as far as we were aware, Jones was not broadcasting the game themselves, and we know that many of you wanted to buy tickets and come out in person, and were not able to. And so we wanted to at least get something out there. So we did this from the sideline this week. And if it hasn't done anything else, it has given you a renewed appreciation for Keith Dickerson and what his broadcast production program does for us at Wekiva with the fantastic camera work and the scoreboard integration and everything else that we're able to do with our live streams. And so we're looking forward to getting back to that when we are hosting a Popka in 3 weeks. We will play it by ear and see what Southlake is doing. If Southlake has a live stream, then we will defer to that. If they don't, then who knows? Maybe we'll be back on YouTube doing another ad hoc impromptu sideline broadcast again. We'll do whatever we can to get Mustang action to you. Certainly, we had a thriller tonight, and we're glad we were able to get it on camera, even if it wasn't the most ideal of circumstances. Thanks to Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief. I'm Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs. If you want to hang out with us for a couple of minutes, we're going to reposition the camera, see if we can't track down Coach Bedison and get some thoughts post-game from him. And we're just going to disconnect the audio entirely since I did not bring a headset for Coach.
So, Coach, even though you lost tonight, I felt there was a lot to gain. Pretty much, this might even be considered the best performance the team's put together all season. Just your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I thought offensively we had, our best game of the season for sure. Defensively, we missed too many assignments and too many plays for it to be the best game defensively. We needed to put a full game together, but we had a couple more injuries, so we're just mixing guys in there. And, it's tough sometimes, but kids fought. You got to give them credit. We went for the win at the end. We came up a little short, but we're going to be in good shape headed into the rest of the season.
Yeah, so again, with the decision to go for the 2 points, any particular reason you went for that besides just let's roll the dice now?
We were just beat up defensively, so we had to play a couple of the offensive linemen both ways. We're gonna, we weren't going to be able to play much longer that way. So I said if we score, we're going for 2. That's what we did. We gave us our best chance, and we came a little short.
The other thing, and you talked about this indirectly with the first question, but it did look like Jones, you needed, a break there. With about 4 minutes left, Jones had just taken the lead, and they had the ball, and then, of course, you get that break. What does that say, about the team's resiliency, and, of course, again, also asking that moving forward to the rest of the season, you do still have some tough games coming up against Lakeland and Top.
Yeah, we just got to keep getting better. I told you, we keep improving week to week like we have been, we'll be in good shape. We play again next Thursday, so it's a normal week now. This is a short week. We got to get some guys healthy headed into the home stretch. We can get some guys healthy and make a couple corrections. I think would be good.
So, any corrections in particular you want to talk about?
Yeah, just what I said defensively, missed tackles, missed assignments. They're the biggest things defensively, and then offensively, the pre-snap penalties. And then we had a couple drop passes. If we can, fix the mistakes that we put on ourselves, it will be a good shape.
Okay. Anything else you want to add?
Good.
All right, well, this has been Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief and Mark Barchi from the Voice of the Mustangs. And again, a thriller, just not quite the way that the Mustangs wanted it to finish, but a lot of promising stuff that we saw tonight. And thank you for joining us again, and thank you for tolerating the ad hoc method by which we had to broadcast the game. But like I said, we're glad that we were able to get such an exciting game out there to you. We will see you one way or the other. We'll see you next week in South Lake. Either if South Lake does their own broadcast, then we will defer to that, but we will still do live stats on WekivaMustangs.com and live updates on Twitter. If South Lake does not do their own broadcast, then who knows? Maybe we'll throw one of these together again and do the best we can to get you as much Mustang action as possible. Good night from Jones High School.